Hello everybody, welcome to Jim's Kitchen. I've got a great entertainer with me today, Mike Falcon, who I know through the Art and Weavers and through other channels, but I just want to start off, Mike. When did you start entertaining?
Rather go right back to the beginning and why I came in to entertaining. My great granddad came over from Ireland for the days of the music hall. Right. And him and his brother did a double Irish step dancing night. Right. And my granddad, who I didn't know my great granddad, but my granddad, when I was 8, sent me to dancing lessons. And he said, there's 2 things about dancing, it'll keep our tradition going. I learned Irish step and tap.
Right.
It'll keep our tradition going.
Yeah.
And he said, you'll learn a few things, keep your back straight. Yeah. People, you know a lot of people who I know, and they always remark about my shoes. Yeah, and that comes from my granddad. He said, a stage is this high. Yeah. People look, and the first thing they see are your shoes and your trousers. Yeah. That's the first thing, and they follow it up. Yeah. So that's how I'm still fanatical about my shoes and wear me pants. Anyway, he sent me to dancing lessons, and I was the only boy among 46 girls, which I hated at that time. Give it me now. And I did that for a few years, but at the same time, I had a very strange life. I was born and bred in Milnthorpe near.
All right.
Yeah, that's where my family are from. Yes. But my dad moved to Blackburn when I was 3.
Yes.
But I spent more time with my auntie in Milnthorpe. Right. You know the times if your mum were ill,
yes,
you went to live with your auntie. Well, right, my mum had a big ladies' operation, and in them days it was like 2-3 years. Yeah. So I went to live with my auntie in Lake District from being about 8. And my uncle had an accordion band. No. Because near the border. I know it's a long way from the border, but the music, it thing. And he said to me, he says, learn a few songs, But that comes just a touch later because getting back to my granddad and dancing lessons, he took me to a show on the North Pier in Blackpool, and it was a friend of his who was topping the bill. I just thought he were a mate of his, Joseph Locke. The only reason the tide goes out in Blackpool so Joe can walk home without getting his feet wet.
Is that what they said?
Anyway, I saw this man come on, and it was electric. Yeah. You must have seen people who you've never seen before, and you go, wow. Yeah. And I said to my granddad, I want to be a singer. He said, right. He said, number 1, you don't give up your dancing. I'll send you to singing lessons. Yeah. And I went for singing lessons. Oh, good for you. Which,
good for them to do it.
Yeah, my granddad was. He when you have favourites, I definitely was his favourite. Anything to do, because he knew I had this feeling for it somehow, And now this is where, by 11 and 12, I'd got the bug, and I'm doing singing lessons. And my Uncle Ken up in Milnthorpe had this accordion band. And 2 things about this story. I had this accordion band, and in them days, people won't know now, they played a waltz, 3 waltzes, 3 quick steps, 3 barn dances, 3, it was a proper dance. Yes. And Skiffle had just come out. Yeah. And Morris, who were in his band, was a real guitarist. Yeah. He'd learned, before Skiffle and all that, he was about 5 years older than me, but a real guitarist. And he said, you and Morris, Sauce we called him, do some of them Skiffle songs, So they did the waltzes, the quick step thing, and we did the Skiffle songs.
Can you remember any of the songs?
Oh, aye. Ran Cooley Down, Nobody Loves Like an Irishman, as well as Sweet 16 and all that. But here comes a bit, right? And he used to give us 3.5 crowns between us, 7 and 6. Hey, you know, and I was smoking then,
Not
you
so
know.
bad. Yes,
yeah.
3.5 crowns.
And then after about 9 months, he says to me and Morris, he said, well, lads, he says, go and do you a favour here. I said, oh, great. He said, I'm sacking you. I said, what? Sacking you? He said, yeah. He says, we get these inquiries for band. He says, and it's £7 a night or whatever. He said, but what I said to him, I said, yeah, that's all right, but what you need is one of them skiffle groups. He says, and I know one who'll do it for £3. And remember, 7 and 6 between us, £3, £1.50. You know, £1 10 shillings. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what he did, and so from being about 13 to about 15, I sang with their band every Saturday night. You know, every village had its dance. You know, and then I moved back to Blackburn permanently.
What a great experience that must have been for a young lad.
And then I started getting with bands. Some were successful, some weren't. But the thing where you get a good band together, and you get offered Germany or something like that, and Harry or whoever would say, oh, I can't go, I'm taking the thing. Oh, my girlfriend won't let me go, the bloody band. Oh, sorry.
It's all right, you can say bloody.
The band split up every time.
Yeah,
and
that's trouble being in a group, isn't it? Yeah.
And so my income was stopped like that. I was offered to join a band in Scotland because of the connection where we were with the accordion band. Somebody knew these two lads who were starting a folky, Scottish, Irish folk band, but with electric guitars. You know what I mean? And so went to Scotland and met up with these lads, fantastic. You know what I mean? When you click.
Carry on, talk. This is real large stuff, because dogs chewing carpets and I'm going to get... Carry on, talk.
Yeah, so... yeah, well, now somebody's in trouble. You want to see the carpet, that shows we weren't watching what was supposed to be, with dog sitting as well, you know. But anyway, I joined this band. And when I say band, there were only 2 of them, a lead guitarist come rhythm guitarist and a drummer.
And I'm just let me interrupt you there, Mike. In those days, you got a guitarist and a drummer.
Yeah.
And did you have to have your own PA system?
Yeah, I had all that.
Right.
I was lucky. My auntie of my uncle's band.
Yes.
Right. She bought me. Now listen to this. I'm 17, 18. She bought me a Vox PA, 2 columns, 100 watts.
Wow, big
big
time, innit? 100 watts, yeah.
She also bought me a van, which I couldn't drive in them days.
Of course, yeah.
But I went to Scotland and met up with these 2 lads, and we were doing Clancy Brothers songs. The Scottish, we did These Are My Mountains and that kind of song. Yeah.
And what sorts of places were you playing at, excuse me?
Yeah, straight away we went into theatres.
Wow.
You know, because there were that many theatres. In Glasgow alone there were 8.
Wow.
I worked the Alhambra. I worked Jimmy Logan's Metropole. I met the Alexander brothers, who stayed friends. Oh, great. You know, you meet some people in life and you meet them once, they're great people, but you don't. But Alexander brothers, and that brings me on to Foster and Allen later, because Tom, the lad at Foster and Allen, idolised Tom. Right. So I'd met them, even then, you know. But yeah, we worked His Majesty's at Aberdeen. We did King's in Edinburgh, straight into, and what it were, we do, they were all variety shows, and we'd do, you know, maybe 11 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where you learn. When the company director said that I want 11 minutes, he wanted 11 minutes,
yeah.
not 10 and a half, not 11 and a half. Later on in my story, I can tell you things about that, but it won't come today because it's further down the road. Yeah. And we were doing all them, and we had a good few years out of it. We never had an argument, we never split up, we always met a wage.
Excuse me, on that, when you do 11 minutes, would you do just one spot, or would you do one spot in first half and one spot in second half?
Usually one in first and one in second,
Right, yeah.
until you got a bit bigger.
Yes.
And then when you got a bit better known, you'd finish the first half.
Yes.
You know, I never got to finish second half. But, and we, to be honest with you, that was the easiest period I can ever remember in my life. We used to go up at a club after work, and they were all entertainers. Robbie Hall and Jimmy McGregor.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You know, I was well in with the boys, you know. And I was a novelty, you know.
Because you were English.
English,
yeah.
And when they talk about, I lived in Glasgow, Queen's Park, right next to the big cemetery there, and people say, "Oh, Glasgow thing." I never had anything.
Funny. I mean, people get ideas in their head.
When it comes to Wales later in my life, yeah. But and then we were working for a management company. That's why the work just kept coming. We didn't have to look.
You didn't have, yeah.
And then he said, I've got your summer season. And this is the start of another life. I've got your summer season in Margate. I think I've told you this tale, haven't I? The lad on guitar had an AC 30 box.
Yeah.
I had the PA with a full drum kit.
Wow.
And we got on the train and we got
with all your gear on the
train. Yeah, in the guards van.
Yeah,
no problem in them days.
Yeah.
You put it in, day before we put it in, not left luggage, but the place they had. Yeah. And then it was put on the train and it was unloaded for us at each place. We had to change for Margate. We got to Margate and we were working, we'd been booked second top, and the posters were up and everything. And the company manager called us all in and he said, "I'm sorry, but the advance bookings of the show are nil." And it was a lady singer of the 40s, I won't mention any name, who was famous, not like Vera Lynn, she was famous in the 40s, but by the 60s, nobody was interested, you know. And they put us in, younger ones, to try and... and he said, "I'm afraid it's going to close. Wow. We're not opening."
And you've gone all the way down to Margate.
Yeah, and with all this gear. And in them days, you work from week to week just like you in the job. Mm-hmm. You know, you got your pay on Friday, you made sure it lasted till next Friday. Well, we used all our money to get down there, and with a few bob, but not pounds, you know. And Billy was only 16 then. I think I got to about 23 by then, 20 something. So we put Billy into a bed and breakfast, and me, I can't remember his name. Yeah. I've been trying all day.
A long time ago.
Eric. Yeah. And we said, well, we'll have to sleep under the pier, you know. So we're there, and it's about 1 o'clock. I said, it's not cold, right? No. You know, they're about 1 o'clock, and this blooming big dog come along with a fella. I thought, oh, please. And he said, what are you doing there, lads? You know, and so we told him tale, and he says, you can't have that. He says, come back to my place, wife will make you up on the couch and, you know.
Go kind,
Yeah. So we went back to his house. I slept with a whacking big Alsatian dog all night. And he got up in the morning. We told him the story, you know. Yeah. And he said, I might be, he said, just to bide you by, you know, just to get you through. He said, my sister works in a holiday camp round coast, just round coast. Oh, wow. He says, and I'll give her a ring. And because it was a bit late for holiday camp season had started, because they work with old folks, this, that and that, but we're coming up to the summer block, which we were going to do
for this thing,
summer block. And she said, yeah, we're after a band who can play for kids, you know, youngsters. So I says, yeah, great, you know. She says, well, if you get yourself here, we'll sort it all out. It was in Brixham in Devon, there. Yeah. We're in Margate.
So how far is that?
Well, it's other side of the country. Margate's here. Yeah. You have to go to London.
Kent, isn't it?
Yeah, and then you have to go up there.
It's a long way.
Yeah, and with all this gear in left luggage.
I was saying, where about your gear?
Yeah, that's all in left luggage. And I said, yeah, great, but how do we get there? And lad said, I said, tell you the truth, that's all we got, and we'd about £4, if that. Yeah. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy you tickets. He says, and when you get your wage off my sister, you know, she was a manager, you know, when you get that, you can she'll send it me. Yeah. Oh, what trust, what? Two lads and one in digs. Yeah. You know, anyway, we got to, imagine, and when you get to London, you have to change stations, not just train.
With all that gear.
So there we are. And he's got his Fender guitar and old drum kit, you know. Anyway, we got into Brixham, where we got into Paynton. And they sent a Ponting's bus out to us. And we got there, and the lad who did the circuit employments, you know, all the blues and all the bands, he came in about 3 days after, and we set up in the bar and we played, and he says, you know, and he was put his pen in his mouth and ash never came out, you know. And he says, I like you lads, he says, and I can use you. He says, you'll be working Monday nights, you'll be doing ballroom for youngsters, a bit of that rock and roll stuff. I said, oh, that's no problem, you know, Johnny B. Goods and all that's no problem. He said, you'll be doing cabaret here on a Saturday. He said, and then you'll be going to Wall Park, St Mary's Bay. We've got a van, you do your cabaret there. He says, and you live on here. He says, right lads, how much do you want? And he's got his flying out. First thing, you know, I said, for all three of us, yeah. I said, oh, 50 quid a week. His bag went all like that. I said, £50 a week. No. He says, I'll tell you what I'll do, lads, and I think I've got the contract here. Oh, yeah. I've got the contract. My mum saved all these, you know.
That's amazing.
I never saved a blooming thing. You didn't think when you're young, you don't think. No. There we are. And there's the contract, and that's it was for Bayview, this one, a bit later than the first one, because we were put on Bayview to live.
Right.
So it's a bit thing. And it says your wage will be £12, 10 shillings a week, plus the sum of £1 a week, which covers holiday pay, to be payable at the end of the season if you've been satisfactory and you're still in our employment. Wow. It made sure that you stayed till the end of the season. Yeah. And I've had this on my my Facebook, and lots of people saying, oh, that's not much. Others are saying that's a gigantic wage.
Definitely.
But what you got to remember, not only that, we had accommodation, 3 meals a day, never had to buy a drink, as I was saying to you before.
Yeah.
The Ents manager said, if ever I see you buy a drink, I'll sack you.
Yeah.
I thought, what? He said, yeah, because if you have to buy your own drinks, you're not doing your job.
Yeah.
People will come in and say, Mike, I enjoyed today, we did so-and-so, oh, I loved your act on Saturday, what you having?
What you having,
You know. So, it was all money in the bank.
That is, because I remember when I first got my first job in 1969, it was a lot less than that. And I had to pay all everything out of that.
Yeah, that was money in the bank.
Yeah.
But the main thing about holiday camps, now this is where, you know, when you come to crossroads in your life, some of you taken, they might be bad, others, but this one, you had to work 14 holidays were 2 weeks, then people wouldn't come down to Devon for a week, you know. When I was just working at the Dolphin, before I started working the other camps as well, you had to do 14 different shows, because there's 14 nights, you know. And Ents manager said, right, we're doing, on Tuesday we're doing an old-time musical. Right, Mike, can you think of any songs? Well, going back to my uncle, you know, When I Grow Too Old to Dream, Sweet 16, all them. So I would do them in that show. And then he'd say, right, on the Wednesday, we're doing a sketch show, you know. So, Mike, you'll have to play this, you'll have to do that. And they taught you how to do it. And so you were learning all different aspects. I weren't just a singer then. I had to do comedy some nights. And okay, you're working in front of 400 or 500 people, you soon learn. You know, you soon learn what's good. And in them days there was no swearing, you know, you couldn't tell a rude joke, and the discipline you learnt. That it's hard to put. The first job you did every Saturday night, and every blue coat had to do it. What you call doing the tables, and the ballroom and the bar is full of people, and they've travelled down from maybe Manchester, some as far as northeast, you know, and they'd be sat there, and you'd go and sit and say, how are you doing? Have a good journey, and this, that, and the other, and they say, oh, I didn't get into my chalet till 5 o'clock, and blah. But you hadn't to say, oh, that's wrong. You say, oh, God, blimey, that were hard work, you know.
It's a skill to learn,
But the thing it taught you was to talk to people. That you could just go to a table, you didn't know them from Adam, and you could talk to them. And like now, I don't have a problem. If I'm in town and in a cafe, I'll start talking to them next to us, and because you learnt that, and you learnt again. You had to you used to go to the table with a half pint of beer, and you'd sit there sipping it and drinking it, and then they say, are you having a drink? When you're down to that, are you having a drink? You fill it we only drank halves. You know, that were etiquette, and then you get the other thing. Now, you wouldn't just pick it up and go. You get down to about there. He said, I'll have to be going, you know I'm doing, oh yeah, mate, we know what you... So you go to the next one, same routine. So if you did 20, if you did 20 tables, which were about average, you know, with all the blues, all that do 20 tables. And... you know, you'd had 10 pints. And luckily, in them days, I had a good tolerance. You know, later in my life, I didn't. But that's it. But You know,
Would you do, and after that, after you'd done that, going around the tables, would you be putting a show on after?
yeah. On a Saturday night,
Yeah.
we did the opening cabaret at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, you know, whatever else was on, but we did about 40 minutes.
And did you? I mean, I'm only asking you this through interest. When you were entertaining a party, would you wear a blue? Would you be dressed as a blue coat on stage?
On every night except Monday night when we were in the ballroom as a band and cabaret.
You have a different.
We wore our coloured jackets.
Yes.
Different colours.
Yes.
But then as soon as we finished, we're back in blue.
Back in blue coats.
Yeah. And later on in the life, I mean, from then on, these holiday camps were real. They weren't like they are now, where you get half a dozen kids, teach them a few dances with kids, and you know, there were real shows every night. Yeah. We did a pantomime. Yeah. You know, that's where I learnt Dane.
Yeah, you must have learned so much stuff in those years.
Yeah, those years. From that, I worked Pontins, and then I went private camps for a bit because they paid more money. Right. I've got to tell you about the split up.
Oh,
I haven't told you how I become.
Tell us about the split up, and then and then the next stage. Go on.
Yeah. We working in one. We started having different ambitions. Right. It was not a fallout, or we actually left the camp and went back working on clubs in Scotland for a while. Yeah. But the breakup was there because I knew what I wanted was to learn more. Yeah. I wanted. I like a blooming sponge. Yeah. You know, I wanted to know. So we at the end of that season, we went, as I said, went back to Scotland. Well, we got some work in Newcastle. Yeah. Here's the thing about clubs. I was on about, the band was on maybe £20 for the night, you know, and the concert secretary come up and he says to me, "Will you sign for 25? So I'll give you 20, will you sign for 25? I said, aye. Yeah. So he gets fired. He said, hang on a minute. Around with clubs coming in. You know, concert secretary. Right now, I can pay you £30 a night, but will you sign for 30? Of course I will, you know. So we did a good few months there. But it was getting, between the band, it just, you could tell it wasn't going to last. No, it was sad. No, I know what you mean, like a feeling, Yeah, and then we went back to Scotland and we called it a day. That was that. So I have, somewhere in here, I should have found contracts for Working Men's Club. You know, I then went on work. Another thing you learn at holiday camps, I had all my music written for me by the MD of the big band. He was a proper musician. Yeah. He wrote me the songs I was singing in that time, you know, and he wrote me. And he said, Mike, he said, you've got to learn this backwards, forwards, inside out. As long as they play it in your key, you're all right. Yeah. He said, but they'll never, ever play it as I play it, as it's written. Yeah. So because they're not that competent. No. You know what I mean? Yeah, they look at your music before you go on. 5 minutes, I'll say, hang on, segue into this, you know, and you go on, and as long as it's in your key, you could get through. I mean, come on, we just played that, didn't we? What we sang. Yeah. Oh yeah, just that. Yeah, just played. Yeah. You know, whereas with the bands, another thing I learned: practice. Now you're listening to Autumn Weavers, you need to practice. Practice. And do you know what people say to me? I must say it to you. You've been lucky. I said, yeah, the harder I practice, the luckier I got.
Now, Mike, this is only number one of interviews with Mike.
great.
We've come to our time now. So
Hey, now I've found where he lives. You know what I mean? Even my sat nav took me half a mile up a dirt track.
well, Jim's kitchen is well hidden
It's lovely.
of the beaten track. Anyway, thank you very much, Mike, for our first bit of a chat. Go on.
Can I say I've had two things today. Number one, I have never ever in my memory sung just dry with a thing. And the other, since seeing the Autumn Weavers in the 60s, it's always been my ambition to sing a song with them, and I've done it. So I'm 80 now, started when I was 14-ish, and I'm still working. You can see me in Morecambe this Saturday.
That is fantastic. Can you?
Yeah.
66 years on the road.
Yeah.
That is incredible. Thanks very much, Mike. We're going to carry on. We'll carry on and we'll have episode 2 very soon.
Yeah. Are we going to have a brew?
Yeah, let's have another brew.
Yeah. See you